Good morning, everybody. This is Christy. I am the Intimate Warrior. I thank you so much for stopping by. And as always, I send you love. I do most definitely send you love. Many of us are opening up so much to the fifth dimension, which is holding more to the loving emotion and loving being. And it really feels awesome. I have been maintaining this state of love. Doesn't really the concept of what love really is that it's so endless and so powerful. There is no word that can really, I don't feel love does this emotion or what I am feeling and what many people are feeling justice. Because if you are not here yet, and it's still not complete for myself. This is just the doorway. I have just stepped through this gate of living within fifth dimension, or full love. And so I know I still have further to go. This and love, again, this word that many of us are always seeking in our life. We think we know what love is when we are living our human life, but you never know what it really is until you step over to the other side. And even still, when we step over to the other side, where infinite possibilities are, infinite emotions are, there's still so much more. Love here is everything. It is everything and more. It is every beautiful emotion, every beautiful thought that you could ever think of, every beautiful place that you can imagine, of course, and more. So, a lot of us are, and I'm really excited. A couple of things I want to kind of talk about first before I get there. Us as human beings, from our perspective, we need to look through, or we often look through, or are supposed to look through, a microscope. When we look through that microscope, we are taking something that is so small and insignificant, and we are blowing it up to see the magnitude of what it holds. This is giving us the larger perspective. God sees from a giant telescope. He's taking what is already magnificent, huge, endless, and expands it even more so. When we implement looking through that microscope and expanding what we are going through on a daily basis, we see from, of course, on a bigger scale, we see everything in that larger scale that involves not just what you are originally looking at, but what everyone else is also observing or feeling at the same time. And then when you take it a further step and look at that larger thing, that thing that was so small that you have now expanded fully, if you can observe even from God's perspective of what that now larger idea, experience, emotion is, it becomes even more magnitude with that God perceives it to be. It's a larger scale. So that's something that God gave me a couple of days ago that I forgot to really place in the video. And also, 2 words. He spoke to me. I'm trying to go back to see where it was. Making sure yes. Hurtful and have. I am expanding on my hearing of those who are going to be working with me. But these 2 words came to me, and sometimes when we are getting messages, it is half. It could be through imagery, then words. It could be a code. It could be a symbol. And it could be knowing from the heart. Intelligence. I was feeling completely fine this morning. Just feeling completely loved and I'm still feeling loved. When we move with what's in our heart, we are believing in it, and then therefore we embody exactly what we are believing in. It's important to take notice of how you are truly feeling within that love concept, not the side effect. Flip it to what does this mean in a loving term, and you will receive the blessing that is coming forth through your symptom. So I apologize if I do begin to cry. These are tears of joy and moving to a place that I'm finally coming back home to. And so the 2 words, hurtful and have. And of course I'm going to put it into what I understand. And if you can come up with something on your own, by all means. But instantly I understood it as, don't be hurtful. Always have compassion. How can we use these 2 words in our lives to make us better people? Because it's not just about ourselves. Love is a selfless act. True love is selfless in giving, in doing. Yet in that true selflessness of yourself and others, you are the one who receives. Because not everybody will receive what you are giving in the same way that you are giving it. Because not everybody is on that same level of receiving, of understanding. If you are on that higher road, because now you understand consciousness, you understand emotions and what is the greatest one to work with. When you stop thinking of yourself and give to others, your heart expands. You're breaking down that ego who wants to control, who wants to limit, who wants to refrain from doing what's right, who wants to refrain from giving love to those who are undeserving. The heart is always pumping to give. That's its purpose, to provide life with every pump. So I am going to do my best even more so now. To not be hurtful. And I have been checking myself. Sometimes we have people in our lives who are just always sarcastic. And then you learn to cope or deal with that sarcasm by giving it right back. And so I have an individual in my life that's all I've done, or we have done, back and forth. And so after this message yesterday morning, I literally caught myself as I was opening my mouth and remembered, don't be hurtful and have compassion. It doesn't matter if the other person is giving you a mouthful. Everything that you do, everything you think, feel, do, act on, speak about is about you. Who you think you are, who you want to be, and where you're going to go. It's all about you. If you want to get to the fifth dimension, of course, you can tap into other dimensions, but the reality here is shifting to the fifth dimension of love. You have to stop thinking of yourself. You think about it within the whole. You're expanding everything that you have ever known, and you're blowing it up under that microscope to see on a larger scale the magnitude of how you play in this reality. Don't be hurtful and always have compassion. And so now we are tapping into, as we are getting closer and closer to the event, many of us are understanding a little bit more about who we are, taking in more love, of course. It's so important to take in more love prior to more love and light, prior to receiving more information about who you are, to know why you're here, where you come from, and what your purpose truly is. If you cannot maintain that frequency of love, it's because you haven't completely healed old wounds. You are still a little bit limited from the inside because of the past. Therefore, you're not ready to know where you are, or where you have been, who you are, what your purpose is, where you come from. It can be harmful to a mind and heart that is not prepped for it. So keep in mind, we are always being prepared for what is ours. It is ours, but we keep ourselves limited, and we have to expand ourselves. So I'm really excited. I woke up and could go back to sleep for a little bit last night, about 2 or so, because starseed was given to me, and of course I know that means, yes, I'm going to find out where I am originating from, and who my family is. I have seen a lot of different, sorry if you heard scratching there, different beings, beautiful beings, those that are kind of similar to looking like us and some that aren't. I have definitely heard different voices stemming from different galaxies or star systems. And I know all of this comes into play. And a lot of us will have different systems, if you will, that are going to help us in what our purpose is. So I'm really excited. I'm about this. Oh, and I also I'm not sure if I've talked about this. I think I have. And it's been a long time. A long time. Within this past year anyway, I think I posted in a video where I ended up getting up from the bed and going to the restroom, and I got back into bed and laid on my stomach, and this came into me. And my eyes were already shut, and then of course my eyes opened up like, what? I was like, what? Are you serious? What was that? And I was like, oh my gosh. And that happened again last night. I got up to use the restroom. Or no, did I? I may have. And I rolled over on my side and again. And you know, it was so strong both times that I can recall that this took place. It probably has happened in the past as well. But I was in more of that terrified mode, so I suppressed it. But it's so strong that you're like, how come my husband didn't feel it, or whomever who's laying next to me didn't feel it and didn't budge, didn't do anything? How come the bed didn't shake, or you know, everything should have rattled because of how strong it was. Now, the spirit can travel, of course, goes everywhere. And so I know that it was my spirit that was out of body, coming back. Now, I also did see the other night, and it looked like me, but it took place so quickly, where as if, you know, if you were a spirit, you know, coming down from the sky in a downward motion, hands were out. And so that's what took place. I was me looking up and the spirit coming down arms out into my crown or into my inner vision area. That is a part of our higher self. When that's happening, or for myself, what took place the other night, because we don't know, we haven't really attached, because we have the higher self or the oversoul and the I am presence and all that. So we will go through our process here, the ascension and descension of spirit. Ascension and descension of spirit. Your spirit must descend into you for you to receive information about who you are. And so bit by bit, little by little, we are going to learn more about who we are, where we stem from, originate from, and learn more about our purpose here. But regardless, we are all receiving more love. And that loving emotion is going to give us and bring us closer to having all the answers that we have been seeking. I'm excited for those who are ready for this. I am excited for those who are working for this, because I know how hard you have worked, or how hard you will be working towards getting to this point. Those who are receiving this, in the cusp of receiving this, being here, give yourself a pat on the back. God also reminded me to celebrate, drink your sacred cocoa in celebration of all that we have overcome, achieved, believed in, embodied, worked for, and will continue to do so. This is Christy. Much love, health, and healing your way. I am bringing purpose to your life. Take care.